Hello everyone. So I'm going live after quite a while, and I'm just trying to confirm if my live stream is working or not, and I'm checking on my mobile. So let me just start in maybe a minute. I'll just make sure that my audio and my video is working properly. And today we will be talking about. Okay, so I think the live stream is now working fine, and I'll just start in just a moment. I'm just making sure everything is working fine, and Prasad is with us. Thank you, Prasad, for joining. So I'm doing this live stream after quite a while. I think the last live stream I did was, I believe, more than a year ago, and I thought I'll probably, just try it out how it works, and I also started a poll on my channel, and most of you told me, that you would like me to go live. So this particular live stream is, of course, on a specific topic, and we can, of course, talk about a few other things. But today I want to talk about my favorite Jira apps. So I want to basically today share with all of you my top most, my all-time favorite Jira apps, and I think it can also be useful for someone like you, or maybe who is trying to also learn um, Jira administration, because of course Jira is a great tool. You can do a lot of customizations, and you can solve a lot of problems with Jira, but you need to use, in most cases, apps to solve specific problems. So today I will share these apps that are really my favorite, and of course this is my favorite list, but it can of course be different for someone else. But I thought it will be a good idea to share my thoughts around these five apps. The first app that I want to talk about is called as Structure. So if you don't know what Structure app is basically an app, add-on or plugin, whatever you want to call it, to basically create or visualize the hierarchy or the relationship between different issues. So in Jira, I'm sure you know already that you can link issues together. So let us say you have epics, and you have stories, and you have subtasks, and your epics may be part of features are part of maybe initiatives. So you have different linking of issues that you can of course create out of the box. You have the option to basically uh, create these links for maybe representing that one issue is a duplicate of another issue, or maybe you want to demonstrate that maybe, or maybe you want to tell everyone that this is a duplicate, or this is maybe refer to something else, or maybe this is a blocking issue. Now this is all good, but sometimes you need to also visualize this on a board. Now with the help of Structure, you can create some kind of hierarchy like this. So as you can see on the left hand side on this particular screenshot, I will just increase the size of this. So you can see here that we have this hierarchy on the left hand side, and this hierarchy can have a lot of different use cases. I talked about subtasks part of stories part of epics part of themes or initiatives. So in most cases, you may already have something similar in your organization, or maybe for your Jira instance, but uh, it is something difficult to visualize out of the box. In Jira, you can search for issues in Issue Navigator, but there is no visual representation of this hierarchy. So this hierarchy can be based on your links, your subtask, and it is just one example. You can create different type of hierarchies where you can define what issues, what issue links you want to be included in that particular board. And apart from, of course, the hierarchy, you can also do aggregation. So let us say if you're doing something at the subtask level, and maybe you want to roll up your specific fields value, so you can do that. Of course, you need to first try it out to see whether it can be useful for your use case or not. But personally, I like working on structure a lot because in just one view, I can um, visualize and I can also trace the original requirement, or maybe I can take a look at all the issues that are linked to each other. It is, in my opinion, a really nice way to manage your work. Um, so there is a chat message from Jackik about custom charts for Jira. So let me also answer that. But in the meantime, I will probably move on to the next app, one of my favorite app, and that is called as eazyBI. Now we all know about Jira dashboards. We all know about uh, different gadgets that you can use on your board, your dashboard. And it is, of course, a nice way to report or track the progress. And maybe you want to have transparency in your organization, which is great. I mean, you can use Jira dashboards to do really good reporting. But uh, it is not really a BI based solution. I mean, if you want to do more, you need to use some app like eazyBI. Now, if you want to, let us say, report on data that you have in Jira, you can always use some external BI tools, and you can connect to Jira using REST API, and you can pull the information out of Jira, and you can maybe process it in a different tool. And of course, from time to time, you can sync it as well, or you can dump your Jira issues into a CSV, of course, Excel maybe, and then you can create your pivot charts. But the good thing about eazyBI is that it is basically an app within Jira. Of course, it has its own database, and you can actually configure how frequently you want this eazyBI database to be synced with your Jira database. And the kind of reports that you can create with eazyBI is, in my opinion, outstanding. You have so many capabilities when it comes to reporting using eazyBI. And the good thing about eazyBI is that if you are familiar with how reports work, or how you can create a pivot table in Excel, for example, you have different columns, you have different fields that you can track on, or that you can basically drag and drop on your X and Y axis, or rather your rows and your columns. And you can, of course, have some count, or maybe some kind of calculation showing you the information. You can do something similar, but of course a lot more. So you can create reports based on your Jira data, and the kind of reports that you can create is totally customizable. You can, of course, create some reports based on, like, your Jira issues, or maybe any field that you have in Jira. You also have the capability to use graphs, and different types of graphs, of course, like maybe you want to show something on a timeline, or if you take a look at this report, something like this. Maybe you want to create a burn down chart, or a burn up chart. Maybe you want to create bar charts or a pie chart. So you can create different types of reports, totally customizable based on whatever field you want, and you can also do some calculations as well. So maybe you're trying to do some calculation and you want to present it on your dashboard, your eazyBI dashboard. You can do it quite easily. And there are, of course, other benefits of eazyBI. One such benefit is that the reports that you create are drill down reports. So if you look at, let us say, one of this screenshot here, it is a screenshot. I'll probably create. I think I don't think I ever created a video on eazyBI, but I think I should. So the whole point here is that if you're looking at, let us say, one portion of a bar chart, you can click on it and then you can go further. For example, if you look at this report for a specific month, let us say December or January, and you want to know about these issues or what happened in January, so you can click on it. You can click on the bar chart or a specific portion of a bar chart, and then you can go further inside into that particular month. So this is something really good and useful. At the same time, you can have some dynamic filters on top. So in Jira, you have a dashboard, and those dashboards are great. You can you can definitely create those dashboards. Of course, not these, not detailed one like eazyBI, but still, you have the capability to use different gadgets. Some of those gadgets are, of course, from, let us say, a specific app, but those dashboards are not really dynamic in nature. You can, of course, click on, let us say, a pie chart, and you'll be taken to the issue navigator, but you can't really change those dashboards on the fly. But with the help of eazyBI, you can create a dashboard, then you can have these filters on top. For example, maybe you want your dashboard to be filtered for a specific project, or maybe for a specific uh, issue type, or maybe for a specific user. You can actually change it on the fly. So you are letting your users this capability of playing with the dashboard. So this is one of my plan to create videos on eazyBI as well. My third favorite app is Insight. Now, if you don't know about Insight, Insight is basically an asset management uh, application or an app within Jira that you can, of course, install within Jira. And for those who don't know what exactly is asset management, so let us say you have a different type of machines or hardware or any kind of equipment. It could be a physical machine, it could be maybe a virtual server. So when you have these different assets, you want to, of course, track them somewhere. So you have different asset management tools and applications. And when it comes to asset management, you can have asset management solution that you can, of course, build with, of course, different assets that you have in the company. And most of the asset management solutions also have this feature of scan or discovery. So let us say you have a network in your organization and you want this asset management database to be updated with the information. It will basically scan your network for any updates. So you can use Insight for doing that. Of course, you need to use Insight along with Insight Discovery. But if you are, let us say, trying to use Jira Service Desk, so I'm talking about Jira Service Desk because it is a very good example when you're talking about asset management. Let us say your customers are raising tickets. Let us say if you have a customer and they are trying to say, or they are trying to basically let you know, your support desk, your service desk know that maybe their laptop is not working, maybe their keyboard is not working, maybe their printer is not working, or maybe they are trying to report anything on a server or a website is down. So when they are raising a ticket, they can actually specify that this particular asset is not working. So if I have a problem with my printer, I can select a specific printer, and then when you do that as a customer, your agents will know exactly that this asset is causing problem, and they can do troubleshooting. So you have this integration of asset management and your Jira tickets or Jira issues maybe. And the good thing about Insight is that it sits within your Jira instance. It is something that you can manage within Jira. So this is, of course, one of my favorite app. Now, I talked about structure, I talked about eazyBI, I talked about Insight. If you want to learn how structure works, you can take a look at some of my videos on structure. I made a few simple videos on creating different types of structures that you can create. So I thought I'll probably mention it. And I think I also mentioned in some of my videos, I have made few videos on Insight as well. And I am actually making this video series on Jira Service Desk, so where I will also be talking about Insight, because when you are using Jira Service Desk, it makes sense to use Insight as well, and it is really good way to demonstrate the capability, or rather I should say, how to build a proper ITSM solution with different processes along with the Insight. The next app is not really a surprise. My favorite app is, of course, Jira Service Desk. Jira, not Jira, but ScriptRunner for Jira. And I don't know how to start talking about ScriptRunner for Jira, because if you are a Jira administrator, I don't think you can do proper Jira administration without ScriptRunner. You will come to a point where you would need to use, you would be using ScriptRunner for Jira. You have to use ScriptRunner for Jira in most cases. I'm not really saying like you need to use it always, but if you have, let us say, a medium-sized Jira instance, or maybe you're using Jira in an organization, I think with the help of ScriptRunner, you are actually opening up the possibilities when it comes to not just doing customization, but doing automation, solving problems. So when you are using a tool like Jira, the good thing about Jira is that you can customize it. You can make Jira work for you. But it has certain features, and all the customizations that you do are within those set of features. Of course, you have the option to always use apps like the ones that I mentioned: Structure, eazyBI, Insight. Those apps are solving a common problem that almost everyone faces. If you are trying to do asset management, use Insight. If you're trying to do reporting, use eazyBI or maybe Insight. Or maybe if you want to create hierarchy, use Structure. But for doing small things, for doing customizations that are not really always provided by Jira or some other apps, but you want to do something maybe more specific to you, maybe very quickly within your process. Maybe you have a workflow and you want to add a condition based on a specific use case. Maybe you want to customize the UI. Maybe you want to run some regular jobs. So ScriptRunner is one such app, which is of course one of my favorite. And it is not just my favorite app, but I think many people, many Jira administrators, they also love working on ScriptRunner for Jira. The good thing about ScriptRunner for Jira is that you can write Groovy scripts if you want to, of course, do a lot more. But you don't need to learn Groovy. You can do, of course, a lot of things with the help of built-in scripts, or you can maybe use small snippets of code that you can apply on your Jira instance, maybe in a workflow condition or a validator or maybe a post function. Maybe you want to create a calculated field. So you have a lot of information available online if you search, like simple snippets of code that you can use straight away, or maybe with the help of a bit of Groovy knowledge. But if you want to do more, of course, you need to learn Groovy. If you want to, if you know how Groovy works, then it will be much more simpler, and you can get the most out of ScriptRunner for Jira. But again, even without knowing Groovy, you can still do a lot. And of course, I'll not really talk about ScriptRunner for Jira a lot in detail right now. I'll probably let you take a look at my playlist. I have I think more than 55 videos now, or maybe more, on just ScriptRunner. Moving on to my next favorite app, and that is the Portfolio for Jira. So just to give you a very quick introduction, like a 2-minute introduction, Portfolio for Jira is a agile road mapping app. Now, if you're using Jira software, you know about, of course, the capability of Jira software to create Scrum or Kanban based boards. And when you are a project manager, you are trying to, let us say, manage maybe one or multiple teams. You can, of course, use different boards, and you can do a lot of wonderful things, of course, following agile methodologies. But you may have some, you may face challenges when you are responsible for planning the work or scheduling the work. Now, Portfolio for Jira is one such app that will actually help you with the planning, that will help you with scheduling. And there are a lot of wonderful things that you can do with Portfolio. For example, if you're a project manager and you have a team of, let us say, 5 or 10 people, and you know that you have to allocate them some work, you have to plan your sprints, your future sprints, and you have to also do some releases. So when you are a project manager, you are always wondering, when can I release this particular version, when can I do this, when can I uh, do a particular piece of work. Now Portfolio for Jira is like having a virtual assistant where you can just feed in the information. So if you tell Portfolio that I have a team of 5 people, 10 people, and I'm doing this much activity with this much effort, estimated effort, of course, and I have these dependencies between activities. For example, maybe you want a specific story to be finished first, followed by a different story. You can actually feed all that information in Portfolio, and Portfolio can actually create a plan for you. And Portfolio can tell you that you can release this particular version or this release on maybe 15th of June or 20th of June. Then you can ask further questions to Portfolio. What if I add one more resource? What if uh, I want to do maybe a bit more in the same release? So once you feed in this information to Portfolio, Portfolio can make a plan for you, and you can actually decide to use the plan or not use the plan. So whatever plan you make in Portfolio is always a plan in a sandbox environment, but you have the option to commit it or push it to your Jira project. So using Portfolio, you can manage not just one but multiple projects in a single plan. And I have a whole series on Portfolio for Jira if you want to learn it. Of course, this is my favorite app. I have spent some time working on those videos and trying to, of course, help you guys, because Portfolio for Jira has a learning curve. And if you want to learn Portfolio for Jira, you have to spend some time in the beginning. So we have few people joining. Jean Fritz Jr. St. Paul. I hope I am pronouncing your name correctly. Thank you very much for joining. So moving on to my next favorite app. So I've talked about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the sixth app that I'm going to share. This is called as Better Excel Exporter for Jira. Now in Jira, if you have been using Jira for a long time, I'm sure you know that in Jira you have this issue navigator where you can export the issues maybe in a CSV format. Now, when you want to generate, let us say, Excel file, or maybe you want to generate, Excel file in a different format or a specific format, you need to use some apps because that is not really a capability. Oh, thank you, Jean. I know a bit of French. I'm not sure if it is a French name, but Jean Fritz Jr. St. Paul. I'm glad that I was able to pronounce your name. All right. So yeah, coming back to Better Excel Exporter. So it is not just an add-on to generate Excel file. You can do a lot more. So basically what you can do in this app, you can actually define the format or the template of your Excel file. So let us say you are responsible to generate, or maybe your management needs some information in Excel format, but not simple Excel format, but some format with some calculation maybe, or maybe you want some specific calculations to be done within Excel. So the good thing about this app is that you can define those templates and you can configure your Jira along with Groovy scripts. Yes, you can you can use Groovy scripts even with this particular app, where you can do some processing. Let us say you want your Jira data to be pushed or dumped into Excel for your users to consume. You can actually define the logic in the Groovy file. So you have a template Groovy file that you can define for doing the actual processing, and then you can dump it in the Excel. And this particular app will give you the option to generate the Excel file not just from the issue navigator but also from other places. So for example, if you're looking at your Agile board and maybe you want your Agile board issues in the current sprint to be exported and dumped into an Excel file, you can do that. You can do that from, of course, other places. So I highly recommend you to take a look at Better Excel in case, of course, you want to generate Excel-based reports using, of course, data from Jira. Good thing about Excel is that, I mean, Excel is, of course, a tool uh, that, of course, you can use yourself. I mean, you don't. I mean, you can just dump information from Jira Issue Navigator to maybe into a CSV format, and then you can then convert it into Excel. But you can also create these templates maybe with the help of some pivot tables, or maybe you have your VBA macros in your Excel. And a lot of companies, like especially the organizations, big organizations, they still, I mean, I don't think they can let go Excel. I mean, Excel is one such tool that is used widely, and people need Excel to basically do reporting. And of course, when you have these templates defined, you can click on a button, you have your Excel file generated, and you can then, of course, use your macros, where, of course, you can do the processing, or maybe you can create these charts if you want. So I highly recommend you to take a look at Better Excel plugin. So let me just take a look at the time right now. I think it is 26 minutes since I went live. So these are the add-ons that I wanted to talk about, and I hope you enjoyed watching this live stream. I will do more live streams in future if you guys want me to do more live streams. And this live stream was more like, I mean, it was, of course, my first live stream after a while, and I just wanted to quickly do it to also test it out, how it will work. But I think it was okay. I'm not really using the best camera right now, but I think camera is not really important because I wanted to show you my screen, and I actually wanted to talk to you and share my thoughts. So thank you very much for joining, everyone, and I hope you a great weekend, and I also wish you the best. Stay safe. And thank you very much, John, for your nice comment. You're talking about the Jira portfolio video series, and I'm glad that it was useful. That was my intention. I want to basically help you guys because portfolio is a nice tool. You can do a lot of wonderful things with it, but there is a learning curve. You need to spend some time in the beginning, and it requires some kind of an investment in the beginning. You need to spend some time reading the documentation, and of course try it out yourself. But the whole idea behind my videos, my portfolio videos, was to give you this guided tour kind of a thing, so that you can also adopt it or start using it. So I think I'll probably end this live stream right now. I think we are almost touching the half an hour mark. So once again, I wish you best. Stay safe, and talk to you quickly in the next few days. I will probably plan the next live stream, maybe tomorrow, or maybe next weekend, or maybe sometime during the week. But I need to first figure it out how often I can plan these things. Thank you very much.